we sold out at Phoenix. It was great. How were the crowds? How was the audience size at Peoria?
It was definitely bigger than the other films that I went to.
Oh,
so
great. Great. I'm glad to get it out there. So nice after a year of virtual screenings to have gotten to go to Phoenix and have the word of mouth on the film build. And we had a good crowd on Friday, but then Saturday was even better. And by Sunday we were sold out. So after a year of just, being alone with it and just imagining the audience watching it, that was really great.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind giving people that are listening to this a brief synopsis of Small Town Wisconsin.
Okay, so Small Town Wisconsin is about a very loving father who finds out he's about to lose shared custody of his son. He's loving, but he's a problem. He drinks too much, so he loses shared custody, and he begs his ex-wife to let him take his son on one last father-son trip to remember him by before his son is going to move off to Arizona. He wants to go to the big city. He's starting far northern Wisconsin. He wants to go to Milwaukee, and it becomes this really very funny, heartfelt journey of, I think, redemption. At least the possibility of redemption.
Yeah, I noticed that too at the end there. A lot of films will, they want to make it the super happy ending, but it really was like at the end there. The main character just sitting down, and I'm like, there it is. He knows what's wrong at that point.
Right.
So
we won't give it away, but I think that's
right.
Exactly right. He knows what's wrong at that point, and that's a big step.
So you talked about like having to sit on it over the past year, and I was just wondering, what kind of challenges did you experience with the production? Was COVID a big thing? Was it?
So we shot before COVID, thank God. And as I've talked to friends who are shooting under COVID regulations, and God bless them, they're making it work safely. But we shot before COVID, so the biggest challenge I think we had is we were shooting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where I grew up and where where a large part of the story takes place. And we were shooting right when Milwaukee is a lot of the commercials are being shot in Milwaukee, so we had to really scramble to put together our crew. We ended up with a great crew, but that was the challenge because we had competition from all the commercial productions.
Oh, yeah. That's speaking of the cast there. So especially with the challenges, having competition, how did you pick the cast? Like, how did you find the actors that you were going to use?
So I really wanted this film to feel authentic for the audience, to feel like I always love those films where you just feel like you're a fly on the wall watching people's lives, especially if those lives are entertaining and interesting and make me laugh and potentially move me, which is, I think all of the ingredients are there in this. But I really wanted to have the folks feel authentically small town. And that, to me, that meant, if possible, to not have to go to that same list of actors who are valuable in France or Germany or what have you, but to really just be able to go for the right great actors. And so Kristen Johnston, who plays Wayne's sister, grew up in Milwaukee. Tanya Fisher, who plays Wayne's ex-wife, grew up in West Bend, Wisconsin. Bill Heck, who plays Wayne's best friend, is from just south of the border of Wisconsin, but spent all of his summers in Wisconsin. David Sullivan, our lead, who's at the center of the story, grew up in small town East Texas. So he really had small town America in his blood and bones. We just had to teach him how to say the word oil versus the way the Texans like to say it, and learn a few Wisconsinisms. But yeah, I wanted a really authentic feeling cast. So and so I really hadn't, like, Kristen Johnston was the only person I had in mind. She actually went to the same high school I went to, and I've always loved her work, and I feel like she can do anything. And just she was she was coming out of high school. She so quickly was built a great career, Third Rock from the Sun. And actually, when I sat down and I met with her, she told me, I have not wanted a part as badly as this since Third Rock from the Sun. She just really, it really meant something to her to be able to come home and make a film with me. And then David Sullivan and Bill Heck, I went through an audition process, but I immediately had, with David Sullivan's tape, I had never seen a stronger piece of audition tape. And I was just, oh my God, I hope that when he comes in, he's as good as he is on tape. And he just blew me out of the water. And really the same thing with Bill Heck. Then it's just a matter of like, after you get your lead, who it kind of anchors the story, then it's chemistry reads and really putting people together. So I put David together with Bill, and it just, the room just lit up, and I knew, okay, well, that's it. It's Bill and David. Same thing with Cooper Friedman, who plays his son. I'd read about 75 to 100 boys in Wisconsin. There's some really talented child actors in Wisconsin, but Cooper came in here in Los Angeles and just was perfect for Tyler. So yeah, and but then all of the day players and folks who have more than a day also that surround this cast are also, all of them are Wisconsinites. So I was really impressed with the pool of talent right there in Milwaukee, and was thrilled I could, just work with people who knew the culture and could bring that into their characters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, myself and also Thomas listening down there, we both actually grew up in very small towns. So for me, watching it's actually very relatable. Even though we were in Washington State, small town is really small town. So
right,
kind of you see those other characters, and you're like, I've seen that guy before, and I've seen this guy before, and I thought that you guys did that extremely well.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I worked with guys, and my father, until he retired, had a office furniture store, and I worked with guys very much like Wayne and Bill and Chuck, who grew up in small towns and lived in small towns outside of Milwaukee. And as a kid, I used to go up. I had an uncle who had grown up on a dairy farm. Actually, an uncle through, not a blood uncle, but through just a very close friend. But his whole family was in the New Holstein area, and we'd go up. So I really knew that part of my state well, along with, I knew Milwaukee. I grew up in Milwaukee. So thank you. That's authenticity was the sort of the guiding light for us.
Yeah, and it was definitely that. I just have a quick question too about what it's like to work with a group like the Phoenix Film Foundation. I've been to the Phoenix. I didn't get to go this year, but I've been to the Phoenix Film Festival in the past, and they always seem to get like really great films. And I'm happy that yours was one of the ones that was added this year. But just kind of elaborate on what it's like to. Do they reach out to you guys and try to get things? Or are you trying to like market yourself to different film festivals and whatnot?
In the case with Phoenix, excuse me, in the case with Phoenix, my producing partners, Scott Foley and Josh Rosenberg, had taken a film of theirs to Phoenix, and they sang the praises of their experience and the festival. And so Phoenix was immediately on our list. So we reached out to Phoenix, and we're really pleased they chose us. And Phoenix has come at the end of really a year-long festival run, which was made that long because of the pandemic. And what was great about Phoenix, Katie, and the whole gang that I met there is they pulled off very beautifully, holding really the first festival that we could go to. Actually, second for me and my cinematographer, Nate Goodman. We went up to Cordillera, which was also a lovely festival. But Phoenix was the first time our whole gang on Small Town Wisconsin came and sat with an audience. And like I mentioned to you, the audience was fantastic. The audiences grew from Friday to Saturday. By Sunday, we had sold out. And it's just important after you go through making a film and than sitting in an editing room for months putting it together. It's important to be able to sit and feel the film with an audience. And so I can't say enough about Phoenix Film pulling it off and really bringing out such lovely crowds for us. So yeah, I need to make another film and get back.
Yeah. Thomas, do you have anything?
This is very interesting to listen to, especially since I haven't seen the film yet, and I would love to at some point. You know, I just kind of looking at the credits, looks like your writer is Jason. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Nazek.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm noticing this is his feature writing debut.
Yeah, this is Jason's first script, and the great thing about Jason, what I loved about his script, it's a first script, and he grew up also in the Milwaukee area as I did, and so he really understood these characters. He wrote blue collar Wisconsin beautifully. It's his background, and then he invited me to really make it my own, and I told him that I really, there were things, he had a very different kind of ending. For instance, he had Tyler going to, actually, we still have the state fair, we kept that, but Tyler participates in, I think it's like a breakdance competition. It was probably a little happier and more buoyant, but I really felt we needed to take the alcoholism of Wayne a little bit more seriously. And so, but Jason invited me to really make it my own, and I think, you know, we ended up, I think, with the script that we both are really, really pleased with.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you had that synergy. As I think about how films are produced, and I think that there's a lot of opinions that can go into it, and a lot of coordination that has to go into it, and so sometimes so much so that I wonder how films are ever made.
Yeah,
because
a lot of moving parts. There's no question.
Right, lots of moving parts. So I'm happy that it all worked together here. You sound very eager to make another film. Do you have anything in the works right now?
It's mostly writing right now, but of course we write to, the scripts are blueprints. But yeah, I have a few things. I have a couple of things in television, two that I'm actually taking out and pitching right now to the streamers and networks. But then I have a feature I've been working on, and I took a drive right before our Zoom, and I thought of another script. But I'm always taking notes. Like, I'm looking over here to my computer screen, but I'm always taking notes. And I'm close on a couple of things. I don't know which will be the first one to take out, but I definitely love doing something like Small Town Wisconsin that is about. Well, on some level, Wayne is a broken character, but he has this shot at redemption. But I love these characters that allow us to explore essentially what we all share, which is the struggle with life, and that almost always has heart and tragedy, but also plenty of humor. And so I think no matter what I do next, it'll probably be within that kind of a framework for a character.
Yeah, it sounds like you do a lot of types of entertainment between TV and movies.
Yeah, I have a crazy career. I did the assassination of Richard Nixon, which is 12 years ago or more now. But at the same time as I was prepping Assassination of Richard Nixon, I was doing the production draft writing on 13 Going on 30, and those are two completely diametrically opposed kinds of films. They're both, I think, came out really beautifully. 13 Going on 30 was directed by a very close friend of mine who's no longer with us, but I'm always really proud when I see, in fact, we're doing some press along the way, the festival circuit. I've had a number of people who do their homework, and they knew that I did writing on 13 Going on 30 and asked about that. And they talked about that in the context of the comedy in Small Town Wisconsin. But then, yeah, and then television too. I had a show on CBS called The Defenders, which was a blast with Jim Belushi and Jerry O'Connell. And I got to work with Jim and Dan Aykroyd on a couple of episodes. And yeah, so I've been fortunate.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear how robust of a career you have, and I really do hope that we get to see more of your work here in the near future. But yeah, I'll give the interview back to Tim, and yeah, those are all my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just one final thing, because any plans on distribution of Small Town Wisconsin?
I should know more soon. We have our sales team, really excellent sales team, who are part of William Morris, who are out right now. So stay tuned. We have, I know, a Facebook page and an Instagram page that we update. So hopefully we'll have some really good news. I know there's some offers on the table, so I'm confident we'll be getting the film out there.
Fantastic.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for watching the film and spending a bit of time with me talking about it. I'm always, I love talking about this film. I couldn't be happier or prouder. It's one, you always try to do your best work and hope that everything will come together and you'll achieve what you've been imagining. And this one really just exceeded all expectations for me. It was just such a great experience shooting with this cast and this crew, and yeah, and I'm just so pleased with the finished film. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's great talking to you, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye out on those social media pages for any updates on distribution.
Please do. Thanks again.
Yep.